Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. Today is a special show that we're doing in advance of the upcoming domain auction at NamesCon, hosted by RightOfTheDot. NamesCon is taking place from May 31st to June 3rd at the Omni Hotel in Austin, Texas, with the domain auction happening at 3 p.m. Central Time on Thursday, June 1st. Monte Cahn and Scott Pruitt join me to discuss some of the specifics of the auction and go over a whole bunch of the domain names that are available, such as holiday.com, dancing.com, and programming.com. They also talk about their new online auction platform, which can be found at bid.rotd.com. So definitely check that out to see the list of domains and get registered for the auction. The guys also provide an update on the .hip hop domain extension and some of the cool stuff they have going on with that. Hip hop and you don't stop for real. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at domainsherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and some of the other podcast platforms as well. Also, we're now integrating our shows with Muse.ai, which provides new search functionality for the shows and the transcripts. So definitely check all that out. And big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. Yeah, so all great stuff there. And it's going to be an awesome auction event. So definitely tune in to find out more all about it here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. J-On, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today, we have a special show, a little preview of the NamesCon auction with some friends of mine. Please don't mind the interim situation. I got a new webcam. I don't have art on my walls yet, but we do got some hip hop happening, so I had to get Biggie up here. But let me go ahead, and even before I get into some of that extra stuff, let's go ahead and introduce my guest, my co-host today. Over to my right, I got my boy Scott Pruitt, aka Great Scott, aka Beam Me Up Scotty, aka Scotty Pruitt. Just do it. What's happening, man? How are you? What's going on?
I love it.
We might even have to call you Scotty Hip Hop, man. You got all the .hip hop gear and all that good stuff.
How about Scotty Pimpin'?
Ooh, Scotty Pimpin'.
Pimpin'.
And okay, yeah, like Scotty Pippen, but Scotty Pimpin'. All right, okay, I like it. But little fun fact, Scott and I used to work together, and we used to co-host the Domain Masters show, which we got some ties with Monty too. You know what? Let me introduce my other guest. Below me, we got my boy Monte Cahn, aka Monty Hall. Let's make a deal, aka the Full Monty, aka Monty Python and the Knights Who Say Hip. It would say knit, but hip like hip hop. And aka Del Monte, the Banana Man. There's always money in the banana stand. What is going on? What is happening? What's up, dude? How you living?
Don't tell me that was off the cuff. You have that written down
Hey,
somewhere.
man, I cannot give out my secrets of the secret sauce of how it goes down. But, it's funny. We talk about Domain Masters, man. I mean, this is like a big old reunion, really, because, obviously you used to co-host the show even before we did, or host the Domain Masters radio show before we did.
Yeah, we created it. I created it, moniker. And
okay. Yeah, dude. I mean, I remember talking about, some of the guests and all the cool stuff that you guys had done. When was that? How long ago was that?
2004, maybe. It was a long time ago. It was the first internet radio show on domains for sure. And it was live. It was live all the time. It wasn't taped. So we went live. It was live. I think every single show was live. Maybe 2 or 3 were recorded or whatever. But I tried to get as many influencers and top domain experts and people in search engine strategy and search engine optimization and all kinds of people, legal, all kinds of people into the industry that touched us directly and indirectly. So
that's so crazy to think. You're talking almost 20 years ago. When we tell people that Sherpa's been around for 10 plus years, people who aren't in the space, they're like, man, y'all been talking about domains for that long. It's like, we're the foundation of the internet, baby. I mean, nothing happens without us. It's, we talk about all roads lead to domains. And, I was on this Clubhouse yesterday with Todd Ryan and some other folks. And, and this is what I was saying about how, ubiquitous domains are in just, obviously e-commerce and the internet and everything else. And every company, every brand has, their domain is, key to what they do. And usually there's a story about how they got the domain and then all, there's just so much of that kind of stuff. And it's really, really interesting. And it's just only going to continue to just keep doing what it do, which is why we're here doing what we do. Plus you guys got the .hip hop thing. So let's talk about .hip hop before we get into the NamesCon auction, because there's obviously a lot to talk about there. Talk to me about .hip hop. What is going on?
Well, we're super excited because we're coming up to the 50th anniversary of hip hop in August 11th, 1973. Kool Herc brought out his DJ set for the first time and had a street party.
And where was that? Was that in the Bronx?
It was in the Bronx.
Yeah,
which is now named Hip Hop Boulevard.
Right.
Our partners, Al Pizarro, is now the trademark owner of Hip Hop Boulevard, and he's doing all kinds of cool stuff. He's a ambassador of ours now.
All right.
We've been holding off a lot of the demand on purpose because of this celebration and what's going to be happening this year. New York City is actually going to be doing 50 events for the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
Okay.
All kinds of concerts and festivals and educational events. There's a big initiative by the city, along with some other cities, about financial literacy, helping to address the underserved community, underprivileged community, which hip hop has influenced a lot. It's changed a lot of people's lives, and we're going to be a part of that movement. So we're all about providing, the online identity and branding opportunities for the hip hop worldwide community, but it's also a worldwide culture.
Sure.
So .hip hop is one of the there's only three, I think, cultural and community domains that are open without restriction. So there's .gay, there's .cat for Catalan, and then there's .hip hop. And so there's a billion people.
.cat. What's Catalan?
Catalan is a segment of people in Spain. It's a Spanish community that identifies themselves as Catalans.
Okay, right. I think I remember a few years ago
they came from royalty apparently, and they've claimed I forgot what the background is, but they claim that Spain, it belongs to them. Or
sure, yeah. So speaking of royalty, over to my other side, I guess I was talking about. I got my boy Biggie Smalls behind me, rocking the crown. Speaking of royalty, and
right,
like I said, I'm kind of in between my office setup, and but I had to put Biggie up, especially with all the hip hop stuff you're doing. I love the hat. I might have to get me some hip hop swag. You guys got to hook it up. What are you wearing around your neck, Scott? What do you got? A big old Flavor
This
Flav?
is like a real old school
boombox.
Boombox.
Okay.
It actually works. It
actually does work. It's a
Bluetooth speaker. It actually sounds pretty good.
So yeah, it puts out some sound.
We got a handful of them. We're going to bring a couple of them to NamesCon. We're attending some really cool music conferences in the next month or so. We're going to Music Biz, which is in Nashville, which is the largest gathering of B2B music industry folks. Then there's another conference. That's next week. Then we're attending and sponsoring the Canadian Music Week, which is the second largest music conference in the world.
Oh, okay.
And we're sponsoring the hip hop track. We're who's on that track, Scott? Who we have on the track? Anyway, there's a bunch of hip hop artists and major players. Chuck D, for example, from Public Enemy. I think Khalifa is going to be up there, as everybody knows. And this is Toronto. Drake came from Toronto, and a lot of those guys came from Toronto. It's a top 10 hip hop community and scene.
Sure.
So we're doing a booth up there and going to have a lot of presence and doing a big sponsorship at that show. And then we're doing A2IM, which is the largest independent record label and independent music conference, which is in New York City right after that.
Man, y'all are busy, man. Y'all got a lot going on, and
NamesCon coming, and
well, let's talk
we're
about
doing
that.
the big auction, baby.
and our third wheel, Jeff Newman, was just at the Nordic Days up in Sweden, and representing hip hop up there for their domain conference. And so got we got feet on the street, a lot of things going on.
Oh, dude, love it. Yeah, no, I think Jeff was supposed to be on this Clubhouse that I was on yesterday with Domains and Law with Todd Ryan, and but he was traveling off in Scandinavia, and doing his thing.
I heard he got a little Inga from Sweden.
It's all good. Speaking of doing a live radio show, we do post-production here, so Billy can edit out anything inappropriate that you say on the show, so that's good.
I haven't cussed yet.
We've got Monty protection. We've got Monty coverage. No, hey, look, man, I love all that stuff. I mean, look, I love hip hop. You know me. I mean, that's near and dear to me. And I think everything that y'all are doing. I think the piece about the community and culture aspects of it, I think, are really awesome. I think the fact that you guys are leaning into that and really trying to leverage, respect, understand, and kind of foster a lot of that, I think is really, really important and key. Especially when you talk about, again, underserved communities and folks like, hip hop came from the streets, like, as a way for people to, express themselves, tell their stories, and then, it's created in that entire genre of music and culture has created a lot of opportunities for folks to find success. And, so it's at the same time, it's kind of like, it's funny when we start breaking these things down. It's like, some of the stuff, it's music we listen to every single day, right? When you start breaking down some of the, the different societal, cultural pieces to it, it's really, really kind of interesting. Just really, really, really dope stuff, man. Well, all the best. I think it's awesome. I got to get myself a little JT.hiphop. And
we'll get you some swag, JT.
You got to hook me up. You got to give me the domain. I need the domain though. I need a .hiphop. Hey, you guys are holding out on me, man.
What do you want? What you want? What you want?
I want JT.hiphop.
No, that's a premium tier name. We have to.
You gotta talk about it, man. That's what I'm saying.
$10,000 name, You
gotta talk about it. It's all right. I got a MediaOptions. I got it's talking about swag. I got my MediaOptions gear. I got my MediaOptions, marketing budget. Like, might have to tap into it. Drew, let's go. He's gonna want Drew.hiphop probably. So anyway, but we can
get MediaOptions.hiphop. We can get that for you. That's fine. Cool, you can go register that today. You better register before somebody else does.
Yeah. Now that we've mentioned it.
Yeah. Before you go live.
Before we go live, we got about.
There's our leverage. We got $20 in the pot.
Hey, 24 hour. We got a 24-hour window before anybody sees this. So, but all right. Well, look, let's slide into the next piece here. Let's talk about this NamesCon auction. I know there's a lot of really, really great names in here. For those of you who don't know, NamesCon is taking place in Austin, Texas, May 31st to June 3rd, and the auction is going to be particularly great here. I mean, you guys sent me the preview list. Plus, let's talk about where, when, all the good stuff so that people know how to participate, right? So the auction itself is taking place on June 1st, right? So it's the second day of the conference is the auction. Y'all are going to be live in the room. Is that that's the deal with our boy Wayne Wheat, award-winning auctioneer? Is that what's going down?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Wayne.
Absolutely.
Wayne's going to have Wayne's boy.
He's bringing Lev the clown.
Lev, that's what I was gonna say. It's funny, man.
Lev the entertainer.
Lev, man, that dude, he's on another level, man. He's
coming in full gear, full costume. He because they both live in Texas, by the way. They both live outside Houston, so Lev's bringing like a box of stuff, props and stuff. So it's gonna be pretty fun.
I have a crate full of wigs.
Everybody can view that live, going to our auction page as well, because the auction will be broadcasted live. As it's going on live, and pre-bidding is already open now. So if you go to bid.rotd.com, you can get registered right now to bid. There's tons of great names. I'm sure we'll go over it. But Scott, why don't you give some of the other details?
Yeah. In addition to being able to sign up online at bid.rotd.com, we also have a new bidding platform that has mobile phone apps native, so you can run this thing right from your phone, not necessarily from a browser if you want to. So we have it for Android and iOS. Those are available. You can download those from our website, and participate with that way. And then what's going to happen is the names that are in the auction now, we're going to select 75 to 100 is typically the number that we end up settling on. Those will be picked out and selected for the live auction. Those will be the ones that Wayne will be, hammering down. And then anything that doesn't sell or that was not selected for the live auction will go into a timed auction online, and that will end on June 8th.
All right, cool. So there's a lot to unpack there. So it's bid.rotd.com, right? Site looks great. So you guys got a new auction platform.
New auction platform. It's a lot more user friendly than the old one.
Is it still through Hybit? Is it through Hybit?
No, it's not through Hybit.
Ah, okay. Look at y'all, man. Y'all doing your own thing.
We got to refresh, just like you got a new crib. We got to refresh crib site.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We had this platform built for us, and it's really cool.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just looking at it now. It looks great.
The good thing about it, JT, is it's as Scott mentioned, is it's very mobile friendly. So the other auction platforms, which you were part of when we did our auctions with NameJet, were kind of clunky on. They were not only clunky on the computer, but they were clunky for sure on mobile. Like remember the old Xera platform?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you remember, so it wasn't that NameJet was clunky. It was that the third party that you made us integrate with. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Hey, look, man, it's like as if we got mad defensive about it. And I'm like, hey, like NameJet wasn't the problem. No, but hey, look, I will say, but yeah, we always threw those, things together. They were always, it was a lot of work. It wasn't easy, but we had a lot of success when we were running those. That's another thing, I guess, for the folks who don't know, we used to be with Scott and I in our past life at NameJet. We used to work with Monte as partners on those auctions, and man, good times, big sales, lots of success. So
big dinners afterwards, big dinners.
Big dinners, always winter dinners, baby. You know what I mean?
Winter chicken dinner.
Winter chicken dinners.
And some cocktails while we were doing the auction.
That's right. Some bourbon, it's always the good stuff. Full disclosure, we do have some names in the auction, meaning MediaOptions and so name. Was that all it is?
One name, but it's a big name. It's a great name.
Yes, sir.
NFTX.com.
NFTX.com, yeah.
Yeah, so, for NFT exchange.
Hold on one second. All right, yep. And so no, that way, just again, full disclosure, so everybody knows. This way we're not like just pumping our own book. I don't know, I don't want anyone to think that, that we're not being transparent. So that's what's good, but it's one name of many, and there's some really great names here. So, all right, so June, let's finish up with the detail, then let's talk about the actual names. So June 1st. 3 p.m. Central. Is it Central Time? It's Texas time.
Central Time at the Omni Hotel downtown Austin.
All right, at the Omni Hotel downtown Austin.
That are signed up for NamesCon or CloudFest can participate. If you're going as a member of CloudFest, your tickets are basically exchangeable in terms of everything that's going on at the event. So
there's something called a channel pass.
So the pass gets you into all of the different sessions and the auction. So,
well, is that because CloudFest is happening? I was a little confused about this. So, is that because CloudFest is happening at the same time, like they're together, or it's like if you went to CloudFest because they had CloudFest in Germany, like the
that's their global CloudFest. This is the CloudFest USA.
Okay, got it. All right, so this is CloudFest.
So what they
USA.
did for the first time is they combined CloudFest and NamesCon together. Even though they're separate industries, they do touch each other. It's cloud computing, cloud hosting. So a lot of those hosting companies have owned and operated inventory. They handle big websites. They're into the domain industry from the other direction. So far there's close to 1,000 people already signed up. So it's going to be a pretty good show, and we still have a month to go basically. Well, have 3 weeks to go before the show starts, and the big registration volume comes in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, hey, look, all good. We're not going to be there. Just couldn't kind of fit it in, but otherwise, I've emceed and done the thing. So big shout out to all the NamesCon folks. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a good time. It's always great when everybody gets together. So that by itself, it's like almost, that alone
Did
is
great last year. You're MCing your butt off. It was awesome.
Man, I do what I do. So I'll actually be doing some traveling. We have some offsite stuff we've got going on almost like the exact same time, just coordination wise, just didn't work out great. But the also tough for Drew. We said this on other shows, it's just tough for folks like Drew to get all the Austin, Texas is a tough place to get to if you're coming from overseas. And it's a tough place to get to even, from the US at times. So but Austin's a great city, and it's gonna be a great auction. So let's go ahead and dive into that now. Let's talk about these names, you guys. So you sent me a teaser list with some pretty crazy stuff on here. Do you guys want to start bringing some names up? You want me to start naming some names? Like, what do you want? Why don't you talk to me about the ones you're super excited about off of this list?
The top names I'm super excited about is holiday.com. I mean, that's a absolute killer, top tier, category killer domain name.
Sure.
Already starting to get some interest in that, for sure. So, that obviously is around travel or, Airbnb stuff, and also the physical holidays, time off, vacations, pretty big. I don't think it's been for sale before. Gorilla.com, which is a name I sold in 2017 or 18. The company I sold it to, that side of their business changed directions. They were a gaming company. And so now the domain name is back up for sale. So we have that back in auction. It's a great brand. Great, strong name. You got all kinds of companies that do guerrilla marketing. There's Gorilla Glue. There's all kinds of end user potential for that. So I'm working on that. Programming.com is an awesome kick-ass name as well. I'm just giving some .com names first, and we can go into some other extensions.
Sure.
So programming, already getting tons of interest on that too. Again, top category killer name.
So real quick, you talk about getting interest ahead of time. So what's your process? I don't think people realize how much work you do leading up to the auction, kind of as a way to, obviously you got these names. It's not just about trying to get the people that are in the room, but you're out hitting up end users and getting them interested, telling them, hey, this is when it's going to be available, and making sure they know how to participate and all that good stuff, right? I mean, would you say you spend about as much time doing that ahead of the auction as you do just getting it set up, or what? Well, what's your
more time doing end user outreach? And what people think is that the auction is meant for domainers to buy. And the good news is there's a wide variety of names from zero, from no reserve, which the opening bid is $500, up to 7 and sometimes 8 figures. So there's a selection of names for everybody to participate in. It is at a domain related conference, but 54% of the domain names that we sell at these auctions go to end users. And so we do a ton of outreach, marketing, social media. We're doing a big press release this next week regarding some of these names to get some really good attention on them. I spend tons of time on LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and going directly to the source of the potential buyers, phone calls, email inquiries, all kinds of stuff. And so it's not just listing the name for sale and then hoping people will come. That never works. Our sell-through rate, is 60%. So it obviously works. It's the highest percentage rate auction that there probably is. So it's due to the hard work that we do and the marketing that we do. And of course, having an audience in the room with several hundred people registered with paddles in the air, plus an online platform that brings people in remotely that can't make it from all over the world, it makes it very viable for that environment. It's the Christie's or Sotheby's of the domain industry.
Yeah,
that's absolutely what we do.
I love it. My first job out of college was working for Christie's Auction House in their catalog department, customer support. So, you mentioned Christie's. That's, that's my jam. It all comes together at the end of the day. And I mean, obviously I know a lot of this stuff already, but I think it's important for the audience to understand because it's, I think that's one of the things that I always find to be the most sort of interesting and the thing that's kind of overlooked when people are talking about putting names in the auction, or they're belly aching about commission and things like that. It's like, right, but I don't think they, they don't realize the true amount of effort and value that's really brought. And we see it just in the results, right? When these names get sold to folks that are, end users and, paying the kind of prices that they're paying for some of these names. Some of the biggest sales that have taken place over however many years, take place at this auction, because of the confluence of all the things that you bring together. The confluence, maybe convergence. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some dictionary Googling to figure out which word.
You got your Urban Dictionary on.
Yeah, but it's the culmination. It's the of all those different things and all your efforts. So I think it's really, really cool. As it all comes together. So, all right. So so keep it moving. I guess for me, interestingly, I think when I look at the list and you talk about some of the .coms, you got some 2-character .coms in here as well that stand out. QD.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know, DN.com from China, they're the largest owner of 2-letter domain names in the world. They are participating. They're coming to NamesCon. Yao is coming, and Wan, I think that's how you pronounce his name. They put in a couple 2-letter domain names. They put in a bunch of 3-letter domain names. And so very rare domain names, and obviously a lot of interest there. Okay,
very cool. So yeah, which one's QD.com and QN.com?
QN are the two letters, and then we have QXN, NZR, QXJ, and QQ, and about 5 or 6 others that are all 3-letter.
What are the starting? So the starting bids. This is information. Once these names are on the site, then the starting bids are visible to everyone, right? Like
Yeah, these are not reserves. These are starting bids.
So okay, so what are the starting bids on? Like, what'd you say? NZR was one.
Okay, that one I'll have to look up because I didn't put it on my list.
Sorry, man, I wasn't trying to call you. I was just.
Well, it's right there. If you go to bid.rotd.com, you can see the starting bids for those. Yeah. So those have not hit reserve yet, but those are the starting bids, or they're the current bids that other people put in already.
You have any names that have hit reserve yet?
Not yet, I don't think. Have we, Scott?
No, it's pretty early for that.
Yeah, we just launched
30 days.
We just launched pre-bidding last week, so it's just been turned on. And
we're still adding names. I mean, Monte just gave me a list of names that I actually appended to the list that I sent you originally, JT. So all the ones that show the starting bids below that is another list of names where I don't have the starting bids. Those are literally not even in the system yet. But these just came in. We've got servant.com, earring.com, squirrels.com, blackberries.com, collie, like the dog.com, hairdo.com, spooky.com. And then we have a whole bunch of 2-letter .co.uk's. So
the most valuable 2-letter .co.uk names in the world. we.co.uk, us or us.co.uk, so.co.uk.
Yeah, we've got over a dozen of them.
Yeah. So very rare names that are top tier names for, they're worldwide names, but obviously for Great Britain, they're the best names, the best of the best.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
4-letter pronounceables like chum.com.
I saw chum. Up here.
job.com is pronounceable, and that's 4 letters. So all kinds of great names. And we also have a whole section of crypto related names, right? That are .coms and some AIs and IOs. We've got
so you got Shiba.com, you got CryptoPunk.com. Yeah. I mean, it's funny whenever we do this show, like this particular show, I feel like it feels like it's almost like an infomercial, when you're like, and we've got this.com, and wait, there's more, but it really is.
And if you buy now, you get free shipping.
Exactly. Like buy now, get your second domain off.
Only 16 payments of $5.99.
But it really is crazy when you look at this list and collect it together. It's like, punk.io and there's just so many, like, as I just pull through these and estates.com, babytoys.com. I mean, there's an enormous,
huge market for that, right?
Well, just a lot of these. I mean, we do the NameJet list at, almost on a weekly basis on DomainSherpa, and it's like, some of these, like, there's probably I mean, there's 50 names here that would be like the best name that we would talk about on a NameJet list in any.
Oh yeah, we just got house.net that was just entered yesterday or 2 days ago. That's huge. Net name 75.net, alerts.net. We have Hall of Fame.net, and then we just got software.ai, robots.ai. So the huge emergence of AI in our industry and in the global industry as a whole. I mean, these are some of the top names that you can get in the .ai extension as well.
And I see, so on the site, can you filter by reserve at all? Is that something that's an option?
No, you can filter by category, and I'm still building that all out. So
yeah. Well, that would be
right now. There's just two main categories, which are domains and NFTs.
And I see there's like a super premium designation.
There's super premiums. Those are like your one letter, one single word,
one-word.com, sure,
and 2 letters and stuff like that. But we're going to branch it out. So there's going to be more categories being added soon. We'll make it a lot easier to pick the names that you want to include in your list of top picks.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Work in progress.
Yeah, no, hey, look, and I think it's great. I think this is like you said, it's already an improvement over what you guys were using in the past. So, I mean,
the search feature, for example, like when we were using HiBid before, you couldn't actually search for a domain. Let's say you heard about a domain and there's 300 or more lots in the auction, and you try to search for it and you couldn't get a search result.
Yeah, HiBid was an interesting platform. How'd you guys end up using that? Was that just, did you know those guys or?
Yeah, I did some research because the Xera system was just archaic. And even though I helped develop that system back in the early days, the early 2000s, that, by the way, was the system that Christie's used after we developed the system for their online auction system.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of, speaking of Christie's, so Christie's was the first, premium auction platform to use remote bidding. They used this Xera platform. We were already in discussion with them. They were out of Tampa, so they were kind of local to us.
Yep.
So I drove up there with my marketing crew back in the old days, and actually Mike White was part of that.
Oh, big shout out to Mike. What's up? Yeah, Big Mike. What's up?
And we drove up there, laid out what we were trying to do, and they actually enhanced their platform to try to to do that. The thing is, it had a really thick interface. If you remember, we had to get the computer software loaded into the laptops and have a special webcam platform running separately in order to.
It was really web it wasn't even web 1.0. It was like web 0.5.
And sometimes we had problems, with that connection right before the auction started. It was really clunky,
Gotta run that shit.
So then we went to proxy. We went to proxy bid for a little bit, which is a really well known system, but it was usually. It was really designed for like tractors and farm equipment and cattle and that kind of stuff. So for digital assets. And then HiBid, HiBid was the largest collectible auction platform, for collectibles, coins, stamps, art, wine, that kind of stuff. So that was more in line with domain names, kind of, but again, needed some stuff. So, and then we co-developed the system with a company called Bid Wrangler. And this is a lot more hands-on. We're customizing it as we go. It's not, 100% yet, but it's, it's 85, 90% there. It's much better.
Well, so I think a couple of things about that. I think the fact that it's still a work in progress, or not even a work in progress, but that you guys are able to continue to, iterate and evolve and improve it. So that's cool that the sellers and buyers in your auctions can give you guys feedback that you guys can actually implement, which I think is really cool, so.
And it has a really nice, as we do the extended auction after the live auction, and it has a nice transition process where all the other ones had to be stopped. You had to reload the inventory, remember, into the system. So this one, you kind of have like, how's it work, Scott? You got 2 auctions working at the same time, and then we just turn off one and it just continues.
Yeah, with HiBid, transitioning from an online auction to a live auction to back to an online timed auction was so out of their process that every time we attempted it, we had major mess ups with the software, and so it basically just required a lot of manual work to sort it out. Everything worked in the end of the day, but it wasn't a smooth process by any stretch.
Yeah, same thing with NameJet. I mean, NameJet. I was talking about this on the Clubhouse room yesterday, where it wasn't even intended for third-party sellers, let alone for live auctions, you know? So when you had to work on the integration with Xera, and then the whole thing about you'd have to take the list and pull the list of the names that were going to go into the live auction, and then find the ones that didn't sell, and then take their high bids and plug those in.
Carrying them over, right?
Oh, I mean, it was just such a manual process. And, you know, and usually we'd go out the night after the live auction. I'd be waking up hungover the next morning with you blowing me up like, hey, when are the names going back on the platform? When are the names going back on the platform? And although now I got this stuff, which Drew had me check out, which is called Z-Biotics. By the way, shout out to Z-Biotics, which is the stuff you drink the day you're going to drink. It's like an enzyme that supposedly keeps you from getting too hungover. So maybe this is what you guys should be using. I haven't tried.
I don't get hungover.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to have that problem this year.
Yeah, I don't get hungover. You know that.
Yeah, well,
you get hungover.
You're a machine, man. You're a machine. So real quick tangent, and then we'll jump back into talking more about the domains. But the Hybid is an interesting platform because I came across them. They were doing they do like you said, a lot of these. They're doing physical auctions, you know, they're not built for digital assets. So domains and other things are kind of, you know, foreign to them. And, you know, you're sort of trying to shoehorn and make those things fit, you know, round pegs and square holes and all those things. Drew was looking at some gemstone auctions or something, and was like, hey, you should check this one out. It's right in your backyard. And it was, so it was in Jacksonville, and it was they were selling like Cuisinart and other, like, it was like an estate sale, you know what I mean, with a bunch of random lots of like just different stuff, you know, but it was all like, Walmart goods that, you know, rejected, like, you know, I don't know if it was rejected or whatever, but like there were these big pallets of like Cuisinart, like toasters and shit like that. So, you know, I actually went with one of my kids, and we went because I was like, hey, you know, you're going to learn about how to make $1, you know? And so I was like, we're going to go see if we might get in the business of reselling some Cuisinart appliances, you know? So we went to some warehouse in Jacksonville, you know, it was like off of school. I don't even know what, like, and it almost became like a pseudo field trip. It was actually a pretty cool overall experience for us to do this together because, you know, it led to a conversation around, hey, you know, hypothetically, how would we do this if it was something we were going to do? I'm like, well, you know, you're trying to buy low, sell high. So you're trying to buy one of these pallets we got to go check them out to make sure they're legit. It was like a not Storage Wars, you know, that kind of thing. Like,
yeah, the storage. So instead, this is called Pallet Wars.
Pallet Wars, yeah. So we literally went to the warehouse and, you know, knocking on the door, nobody's answering, call the number, nobody's answering. Finally, a guy shows up, you know, like just who's, you know, had been on his lunch break or something. I'm like, hey, could we check out he's like, you know, kind of gives us it up and down. He's like, all right, come on, you know, and like, so we were in the back of this warehouse, like looking at these pallets, trying to see it. And, you know, and up close, like in the pictures, you know, because again, this is an old system that doesn't really, and I don't know if it's deliberately done this way to not give you that much insight. So you don't know specifically what the deal is, but like, you know, once you see it up close, you get a much better idea of like the quality and all that. And these boxes were pretty banged up and all, because the idea was, hey, if we will buy, 50 toasters for, $500, we can go sell these things for like $30 each, and, and all that, and, figure out an eBay store and all that. And, but it turned out we didn't, two things. The quality of the merchandise was a little bit underwhelming when we saw it in person. So it was good that we went physically.
So they were already boxed, but the boxes were damaged, or they were open?
No, they were boxed. Yeah, boxed with a little bit of, I think, and I don't know if they were damaged and that's why they didn't get sold. I get the sense that maybe there was like overstock kind of stuff, or maybe a little bit outdated, like older versions, things like that. And this is how they because in the back of the warehouse, we looked around the side and you could see it was like, looked like, it was like, just a fucking full on, just all these like toasters and microwaves and coffee machines, and so they had more pallets to make, and but some of the boxes were kind of like yellowed out, like you could tell they were just a lot of wear and tear on this stuff.
A couple dogs got around there and used it as their
I would think that these things are pretty resilient. They're probably, all the stuff probably worked. It's just, you're going to go and deal with like selling them, and then people want to return them, want their money back, just all that kind of stuff. Like,
the moral of the story is your garage is filled with toasters.
Exactly. So moral of the story is every single person in our lives are getting toasters for their, for the various holidays and birthdays for the foreseeable future. A lot of toast happening. Anyway.
I can't wait to get mine.
Exactly.
Don't send me one with the yellow box.
That's what we're going to send out instead of
damaged a little bit. I don't want the yellow on mine though.
I'll trade you some swag for a toaster.
Well, so what was funny was, and my kids, like, so they, in Fortnite and some of these, you talk about digital collectibles. I mean, kids, these days, like, they're actually into these kinds of things. This is one of the reasons why we felt like NFTs and some of this other stuff. I mean, talk about domains as the original digital asset, right? The original NFT. They appreciate rarity and all this stuff. So, my kids like that red blender, that's a rare one, like it's like and it's like, ooh, maybe that's the palette we should, because there are a few to kind of pick from. Anyway, not to go way off on the tangent, but HiBid was the platform that they were using. And then ultimately, so not only were they a little bit beat up, but then the bidding actually got to be a little bit high. Like the profit margins got pretty tight on these. So I find I'm curious, like, who it is that ultimately bought them, and what kind of, maybe somebody who does this pretty regularly that has their system down, that can
it was probably Walmart. Walmart probably bought them
eventually, it's one of those things where it's like, I have many questions, unanswered questions from that exercise, but it was a pretty good it was a pretty good use, good.
Well, the good news about domains and digital assets is you already know the quality, because it can't be damaged.
Exactly.
It's a UDRP or stuff, and we don't have that in our system. So
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker, specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
Speaking about NFTs, and we've got NFTs in the auction, and a couple Web3 names. The biggest Web3 name we have is God.eth. It's a huge.
Oh wow! So you guys got .eth names, okay?
Yep. Well, we have one big name, which is God.eth.
That's that's pretty wild. That's a crazy one. And so what is the renewal, or what is so how does that work for that particular .eth name? Are they all the same? Like, I should know this, but are they some sort of, I understand the renewal process, and the price is the same per name, right? Or is it that they when they expire, it's almost like a bidding thing that happens, like a Dutch auction style thing? Do you guys know how that works?
I don't know.
I'm not completely familiar with how it works if they expire, but this domain name obviously carries a high one-time purchase price, but the renewal price is similar to a domain name. It's like I think it's $20 or $30 a year or something.
Yeah.
So it's not that it works very similar to from how domain names work.
Yeah, we had
this particular extension. Not all extensions work that way. Unstoppable has a different type of a system. Handshake has a different type of system. We don't have. I don't think we have any of those particular names in the system.
I was going to ask.
Don't have any Handshake or Unstoppable.
We don't have any Handshake or Unstoppable. The .eth names seem to have more usage, more value. They're tied to ENS, so they're on the Ethereum naming system, and use that kind of platform. So that's a much more solid system. It's supported.
I have a couple .eth names. I have to, it reminds me, I probably need to take a look and see like what the, because it's out of sight, out of mind a little bit. But on Sherpa, we had Daniel Got Hits, who, is a big .eth guy. And then he actually came to NamesCon last year. So I got to meet him in person after we had him on the show, because, we're heavy in NFTs and all the crypto stuff. And, talking about the .eth names and, the different categories, and kind of reminded me of when, back in like 15, 16, when you had this big China wave in the domain space, and then breaking down like the 4 characters and 3 characters and 5 character numerics and all this kind of stuff. And, where it was like vowels and, no vowels, no V's, those kinds of things. And, and then I brought this up on the Clubhouse call yesterday. If you remember, there was actually an app that was similar to like the stocks app on the iPhone that broke down the different domaining categories and what the current floor price or the current market price of like a 3 or 4 character .com 4character.net, a 4character.com, no vowels, like those kinds of things, premiums and all that kind of stuff. And, we saw some of that with the .eth stuff where the numeric .eths, right? They had the 3 characters and they had the 999 club. So it's like, because which was actually a misnomer. They had 1,000 of them, but they called them the 999 club. So if you were a member of that club, then you could go into their Discord and there were community benefits around owning a particular domain like that. I thought the community aspects in and around the .eth, the .eth domains, the ENS domains was really, really neat. And, I think things have cooled off, obviously, as some of the NFT and crypto stuff has cooled off, but, obviously the really good, like a domain like god.eth is that's a super valuable name no matter what the market's looking like. So
oh yeah, definitely.
And Christian Calvin, we sold we sold all of his NFTs in the last auction that he submitted. We have a couple of them in this auction as well.
Awesome.
We have some NFTs from a company called Empower Psychedelics, and Band Royalty, which they're basically selling. When you get your NFT, you're also getting shares of royalties of songs.
Oh, so okay. And which platform is that?
A token that entitles you to royalty. So
yeah. And which one is that?
Band Royalty.
Band Royalty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, they have some pretty good. They have Justin Timberlake, the other JT.
Yeah,
he's one notch below you, but
yeah. So how do you find their platform? Is it bandroyalty.com? Is that where they're at, or what's their? I find it interesting because even for our 8bin project, one of the things we had talked about initially was, taking the music, we're actually finally going to be dropping the Zoo album shortly. And, we talked about, hey, is there a way to get the royalties and then push them back to the token holders, right? Without it being a security, there were some of the legalities that were, for us that became, a little bit prohibitive around some of the bigger ideas and things that we wanted to do. But being careful not to run afoul of the SEC and the FTC. And it won't let me be. They're trying to shut me down on MTV. But shout out to Eminem. But no, I think watching this evolve in the space is really interesting because it does. All this stuff is kind of an potential opportunity for some of the stuff that we're doing, and overall, just as a music aficionado, I think it's really neat watching what some of these platforms.
Yeah, and on the band royalty stuff, I don't have a website address for you, but if you go and look it up on the auction, there are OpenSea links where you can go and do all the research on those NFTs and find out everything there is to know about them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, all right. So you guys have got, there's a lot going on in this auction. So, and there's more. You got CryptoPunks. You got CryptoPunks.com.
CryptoPunks from the from the actual common law trademark owner.
Wow.
They registered the domain name before there was a CryptoPunk, believe it or not.
No way.
So the idea actually was born through a domain registration.
That's really crazy. See, that's pretty wild, man. Like for somebody who had come up who registered the domain before CryptoPunks were even a thing.
Yep.
And you got CryptoPunk too. You have the singular.
Yeah, we have a
singular. We have Sheeb and Shiba.com also registered before the coin and the token.
Well, yeah, and what's interesting,
pretty unique digital real estate here in this auction for sure. I know I say it every year, but if you look at the collection of domain names in this particular auction, it could be the best ever.
Yeah.
It's definitely there's high quality keyword domains or 2, 3 character, 4 character domain names that are top quality in a variety of extensions, and there's something for everybody. Which is really good.
Well, and you've got some great .ai domains. It looks like you have some great. You have software.ai.
Yep.
So it's like
we talked about that earlier. So these .ai names are selling for 6 figures. Generally because of the popularity of artificial intelligence, and to have something like software AI, and you're a software AI company owning that keyword. We all preach it. MediaOptions preaches it. RightOfTheDot preaches it. That the keyword, owning the keyword, the direct match, type in direct match, top tier domain name in your category, you got to have it.
And it's interesting because even when you talk about, as AI as an extension, I think that, to me, software.ai compared to even like a software.com, obviously, the .com is a different animal, but if you're an AI business, right, there are definitely certain times when having a non-com can actually make sense. And
well, that makes the most sense. If you're an AI company, software.ai is probably better than owning software.com.
Yeah.
In that case, certainly better than owning softwareai.com. If you think about it that way. Yeah. So
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, the .ios have become popular because of that, in the tech world. So we've got some top, .io names as well. So
you have punk.io, which is, you have whois.io. I mean, so there's
whois.io. I mean, that's killer.
So, I mean, you're talking about you want to get you want some traffic.
Yeah. And then we've got some really good .xyz names too. So we've got Sydney.xyz, the city. We have Bike.xyz. We've got Rooster.xyz, PC.xyz. So some great .xyz names as well.
Yeah, and shout out to Nagari and Ambrose and the whole team at XYZ and all that. Yep. All those guys continuing to just do what they do. And I mean, I've loved watching what's happened with XYZ with a lot of the crypto and NFT, folks that have, utilized XYZ domains, similar to how they adopted the IOs and, it's watching certain extensions thrive in these environments. And obviously AI is just a natural fit for all the AI stuff. But in
our last auction, we just came off of the Miami NFT Week auction, and .org had a really strong showing in that auction. So
okay,
we've got really good .org names like Wisconsin.org, reincarnation.org, update.org, cartoons.org, companies.org, costs.org.
Okay. I mean, I don't know about reincarnation.org. That one's a little bit weird to me, but I think but the other ones are
all nonprofit, baby.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look, no question. There's a ton of great stuff here. I think a lot of it will also come down to, reserves and what people are trying to get for these domains. Stuff that is priced, to sell is going to do well. We've seen it, and we know that when you've got good names with low reserves, it's not like you're trying to sell them at the reserve. You're trying to create the momentum around the bidding, right? You're trying to create
competition. There's a lot of no reserve names, a lot of low reserve names, of course, to create that scenario. And there are a handful of names that are priced in between the wholesale and retail segment as well. But again, we always hit one of those or a couple of those at the auctions, and it turns out to be a really good investment for those that bought it, and good for the buyer seller and the the industry as a whole. That's the other thing about these auctions, JT, as you remember, is that in the worst of economic times, which we're still in, the one thing that we do is we keep doing these auctions to keep the market fluid and liquid. Mm-hmm. And if it stagnates, that's when there's question and issues. But the important thing is to keep the market moving, even in the worst of times, the best of times, because that proves that it's a legitimate, viable market, and that's how markets are made, and that's how markets stay strong.
Yeah,
I've done in the domain industry since the late 90s is that we've done things like this to keep the markets moving, even in the first. I've been in 3 recessions, and domain names kept our business alive at some points, and it kept other people's food on their plates, on their tables.
Well, I think that's a fair point. We talked about it on the show, the Clubhouse yesterday. MediaOptions, we believe ourselves at times to be a market maker. We're always trying to continue to get deals done. We think deal flow is important. I think if you try to hold out for, the top dollar all the time, as a seller, you're going to miss out on opportunities. We were talking about this yesterday as well, where, during the most recent crypto boom, we had folks that had some names with, but they were just, their appetites were too big. They were, holding out for these unrealistic prices because they felt like, it's going to go on forever, right? And they turned down life-changing money on some of these domains. And then when the market bottoms out, then they come back and they're like, I'll take that offer now. It's like, that offer is long gone and you'll probably never see it again, So, you really try to, anytime you're trying to deal with a market where you've got buyers and sellers and, you're trying to, find that middle ground. And that's a lot of what we do, right? Find the balance between the two. You just hope for sellers that they don't miss out on those opportunities. And then separately, you hope that buyers also, when they have a buying opportunity for a name somewhat in their range, that they don't try to get get too cute either around the negotiation or, those kinds of things, because, there's a reason why we refer to our end user show as off the market forever, because once a name is gone, you're never going to get it again. If that's your brand, then you're screwed. So, a lot of it is also just trying to create these opportunities so that the buyers and sellers can be connected and deals can get done. And, I agree. I think that, continuing to keep the flow and the traction, and I think it's just great to see, these names being talked about and marketed and promoted, and it draws attention, and activity begets activity. And, and then when you see these big sales, and then people realize like, oh, wow, it just helps to further reinforce the idea, the value of these domains, almost regardless of like what the economy is doing, because, all roads lead to domains, baby. I mean, this is what it is all about at the end of the day. So, so yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah.
And well,
let's face it, we have a new generation of users, which is our kids. And I used to fight this. I used to fight this point, and I know there's a lot of legacy domainers that think .com is the only thing out there, and that's the only thing that's holding its value. But it's not so true anymore. That .com is still king. It's still important to have your .com, but my kids don't know what .com is, what it stands for, why it's important. They think things that are more intuitive, some of the new extensions that make linguistic sense, from the left of the dot to the right of the dot makes more sense to them. So if you have divorce.law, that's more intuitive than trying to get something obscure because divorce.com is gone. So, and the same with, it's the good thing about our .hip hop extension is that, left of the dot, linguistic flowing names to the right of the dot of hip hop, like rap.hip hop, dance.hip hop, music.hip hop, mixing, DJ, MC, all that stuff, JT. That really makes intuitive sense and linguistic sense to the new generation of users. And there's a lot more inventory in these keywords out there than there was when I first started. I got in the business in 1995. Registered my first 1,000 domain names during that time, and there was .com, .net, and .org. That was it. There's no other choices, and so that created rarity and scarcity and stuff. But now there's 1,000 new extensions, and there's opportunities for various types of people, types of companies, nonprofits, profits to use other extensions in different ways, even if they do or do not have their .com name.
I think that's all. I would agree with almost everything you're saying. So that's, no doubt.
That's why we're offering so much of this diversity in this auction, so that people have a chance to get keywords and various extensions as well. So that's why I'm saying there's something there for everybody.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think that's what you're right. I mean, you guys are casting a pretty wide net, everything from the NFTs to the .eth domain that you have, to the various extensions, to the .coms, to the IOs, to the .ais, to the XYZs, to the .ccs, to the .hip hops. Hip hop and you don't stop, So, all right, well, cool, man. And it's always going to be, it's a fun time. You guys will have some food and some drinks that'll be happening, and, a room full of people, hopefully ready to spend some money and, keeping it moving. And it's, the activity is going to be, the energy is always the best part of the conference. 100% is the auction. So I expect this year will be no different. And, excited for you guys. We'll be tuning in remotely and, maybe participating a little bit, buying a name or two. And we'll see how NFTX does. So,
well, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. You should, practice what you preach, baby.
Well, hey, if the price is right,
you got to talk the talk. You got to walk the walk, JT. Make sure
the price is right, man. Hey, look, we don't make money by overpaying. That's what I could tell you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
there's going to be a red zone too, just like last year.
Yeah. So, who's doing the red zone?
Krista.
Okay.
Well, she's not doing it. Amar's going to be in the red zone. Larry Fisher's going to be in the red zone. Who else was supposed to be in the red zone or is going to be in the red zone?
And then so that's in the hour leading up to the auction itself. So 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 o'clock, there'll be the red zone where they'll be talking up some of these names, some of the stuff we're talking about now, and some of the other things and the other names that get placed in the auction. I mean, so you guys still accepting submissions?
We just got submissions last night for these .co.uk names, these 2-letter names. So I'm only encouraging the best of the best names if there's going to be entrants at this point. Our auction list right now is awesome. So I'm not accepting anything unless it's there's a good reason for it, good super premium, something that's saleable, that kind of thing. The majority of our time, majority of our time is marketing these names to end users and making sure that everybody knows that they need to sign up to pre-bid, right now, get into the bidding, indicate what names you're interested in by bidding right now, getting registered. Then of course there'll be a couple hundred paddles in the room on auction day.
How many submissions, how many names were submitted that you had to go through to get to this list?
I think about 25 or 30,000 maybe in this particular auction. I've had as many as 100,000 submissions in an auction.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, but I go through it personally, and Scott and I bounce off of each other, and then I run analytics and all kinds of other stuff and try to find out what, we run traffic stats and other things when necessary. And that's the hard part of the process, is selecting the right names. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a lot of names that aren't on the list. They're just overpriced. They're grossly overpriced, so I can't put them in. I don't want to waste slots in the auction. It's got to be the right names at reasonable prices or at the best prices to drive bidding activity, competition, interest. That's what makes an auction. And typically, the reason why Christie, Sotheby's, us are successful in these auctions, because you generally sell names for more than expectations because of competitive bidding.
Yeah, well,
we make a market on the spot.
Yeah, well, we talk about it all the time. I mean, we've seen it even on NameJet and even at these auctions where you take a name that has a high reserve, it doesn't get any activity, and then you take the same name and you put it in at no reserve, and then it'll sell for more than what the original reserve was at, because
happens all the time.
I mean, it's the psychology of it and everything. It's just
time the high reserves, the thrill of competition, of winning,
all that good stuff.
All of a sudden you say, I have a budget of this, but you spend a little bit more, and then you're already invested into it, and you don't want to waste that. How can I not get this? I've already got an hour.
Dopamine is flowing. It's like you gotta. No, it's good stuff, man. It's a lot of fun. And all right, well, cool. So everybody should tune in to the Red Zone leading into the auction, which will happen at 3 p.m. on June 1st, live at the Omni. Central Time, Texas Time, Central Time.
Like Texas.
Live at the Omni in Austin, Texas. And all right, man. Well, good stuff. And there's some .hip hop names in the auction as well, I see.
Yep. So, and there'll probably be some more added. We haven't added, these are customer names. We haven't added any registers.
Not ours.
We're probably going to have 3 or 4 of our names listed in there soon as well.
All right. Well, good stuff, man. Looking forward to it, and good luck, and excited to see how it all shakes out. So, all right. Well, I think we're basically up on time. You guys got anything else? I mean, I think we covered a lot of ground, but anything else we didn't cover?
Go register a .hip hop domain today.
Yeah.
Where can I go? You guys just partnered with GoDaddy, right?
Hip hop. You can go
hip hop.
GoDaddy. You can buy any accredited.
Yeah, that's another big announcement. As we just went live on GoDaddy just about a week and a half ago. So that's the largest domain registrar in the world, and it took a long time getting that done. It was on GoDaddy years and years ago, but when Uni Registry / Frank raised the prices way up out of whack, the GoDaddy took them off. A number of registrars took .hip hop names off, along with a lot of other extensions that were Uni Registry names. But we brought the price back down to reasonable prices, and now worked with GoDaddy for the last year and a half to get it back up.
Well, congratulations on that too. Good stuff all around. All right. Well, so yeah, get.hip hop. Let's go. Hip hop and you don't stop. Scott, Monte, man, thank you guys. Appreciate you for being on the show today. Excited to see what happens at the auction. And so thank you guys. And to the audience, like I say in every show, thank you for tuning in. Without you, there is no us. So thank you for tuning in here today on DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Tune in, participate, go get yourself a .hip hop domain, participate in the auction, all that good stuff. Keep it moving. We're going to do what we do, and we'll see you all next time here on DomainSherpa. Peace out, everybody, and see you soon. Bye.